And joining me now to respond directly to the president's challenge is South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. Those are good questions.
Well, they weren't asked today. So I have more questions at the end of today than I do answers. Well, let's get your initial reaction to the presser today.
Well, number one, I can't believe the president said that we sent someone out to explain Benghazi who had nothing to do with Benghazi. That's pretty stunning.
Yeah.
Why did they pick her? If she had nothing to do with Benghazi, she's not in charge of consulate security. She works in the UN. Why nobody from the State Department? I believe she's a close political ally of the president. She went on national TV 4 or 5 days after the attack when there is no credible information that the video scenario was real. And she, either through incompetence or an intentional effort to mislead the American people, tried to spin a story that would help the president. Because if it was true that this was an al-Qaeda attack, long time in the making, that killed our ambassador and 3 other brave Americans, so much for the story. We killed bin Laden, al-Qaeda's on the run, being dismantled. So I'm going to hold her accountable. She volunteered for this assignment. She's either very incompetent when she came to explaining Benghazi or she was misleading. But the person I blame the most is the president.
Well, you said within 20 minutes of the president's press conference today, you had sent out a response. And you said, Don't think for Mr. President 1 minute that I don't ultimately blame you responsible for this. I think you failed as commander-in-chief before, during, and after the attack. I want you to give some details because there are so many unanswered questions here.
Okay, number one, I wrote the president weeks ago, Mr. President, were you informed of the April and June attack on the consulate in Benghazi? In June, there was an IED attack on the consulate that blew a hole in the wall that 40 people could get through. Were you informed that the British decided to close their consulate because the British ambassador was attacked by al-Qaeda militia? Were you informed that the Red Cross closed the place? I blame the president above all others because I can't believe it's possible that he was not told by his people about the June attack. Can you imagine the president of the United States going out in public, being asked by a reporter, what do you think happened in Benghazi yesterday? And he says, I don't know what you're talking about. So I blame the president for leaving the consulate open in a fashion that it became a death trap. He should have closed the consulate or heavily reinforced it. Once the attack occurred in April and June, I blame the president above all others.
You know, Senator, I'm a little sick and tired of the media's fixation on the sex scandal part of this, and in part because they mischaracterize our military. Because, all right, certainly what happened was wrong, but we don't take into account, I mean, General Petraeus put his life on his line for this country and got shot in the process at one point and risked his life. And I think they've focused on that. My question to you is, you know, we also have the only Paula Broadwell question I have, 2 of them actually, was this CIA annex actually a detention interrogation site, as she suggested? She seemed confident when she said it.
Well, I'll tell you, everything you said about General Petraeus is true. We were losing in Iraq. He turned it around. He got us back on good footing in Afghanistan. And the president, I think, has made poor decisions regarding Iraq and Afghanistan in spite of great military leadership. But General Petraeus supposedly told members of the House Intelligence and Senate Intelligence Committee a couple of days after the attack that he thought it was a result of a video. He needs to testify. Secretary Clinton needs to testify. On August 15th, Ambassador Stevens sent a cable from Libya to the State Department to Secretary Clinton saying, we've identified 10 militia groups associated with al-Qaeda in Benghazi. They're all over the place, and if there's a coordinated attack, we can't defend the consulate. So she needs to account for why she did not grant the security request. We need to hear from all of these people, but the way the Congress is doing it, they're going to fall through the crack.
Well, I want to follow up on that because I think this is very, very key here, because you are suggesting the House and Senate organize the hearings in the right way. Otherwise, we're never going to get to the truth. Explain that, because it seems to make sense to me.
Okay, the State Department needs to answer for how the consulate was so unsecured for so long. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
The Department of Defense needs to answer for the fact that for 8 hours we couldn't help these poor people. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I love being interrogated. I'm not even under oath, but yes.
Well, the CIA needs to answer for about 10,000 things.
Yep.
How in the world can you get to the truth if you got 3 or 4 committees going off in separate directions? Have a select committee. The House needs to lead on this issue, put a committee together, the relevant committees, to ask the same questions of the same people so you can compare answers. What Harry Reid is proposing is going to allow this thing to fall apart, and we'll never get to the truth.
And we need the right people on those committees, people like Jason Chaffetz and
oh, my
others.
God. God bless Jason and the House Oversight Committee. I hope Boehner and Cantor will not make the mistakes that we're making in the Senate.
All right.
Put together a committee of people who know what they're doing, look at it as a group rather than a stovepipe approach, and we'll get to the truth. We deserve the truth. I have nothing against anybody, but I do have a desire to get to the truth, and I'm going to hold this president accountable, Susan Rice and others, for what I think is a national security breakdown of monumental proportion.
All right, Senator, we're going to continue to follow it. It is a massive scandal. We have not gotten a lot of answers today, and coming up, appreciate you being with us.